Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me to open this colloquium here in Schengen today. This symbolic place at the junction of three countries, France, Germany and Luxembourg, where back in the 90s was signed the Treaty of Schengen, introducing the free movement of person, has been chosen to host the first public event of the newly created University of Luxembourg, whom I wish all the best. I also express my gratitude to the three organizers, known as the Luxembourg Group, the Graduate Institute of International Studies, Geneva, the Center for Transatlantic Relations, Johns Hopkins University, Washington, D.C., and the University of Luxembourg. The post-September 11th world is confronting us with new aspects in international relations, while certain divergences appear in the transatlantic community. Now, I believe that recreating a strong transatlantic community is essential for bringing back and preserving stability and peace in the world. Here in Schengen, a place so significant for the European integration, I express my deepest conviction that in order to achieve these shared goals and preserve our common values, a strong America needs a strong Europe. Thank you very much.
Differences of values between those living in Europe and between those governing Europe, between our domestic societies throughout the European Union. We have no common ground when it comes to points, practical points, like structural reform in Europe, like bringing elements together in order to make economic recovery in Europe becoming a reality in the next coming weeks, months, and years. We don't have common values when it comes to our maybe and hopefully common ambitions. We have basically two camps in the European Union, those thinking that we have a too strong and too powerful Europe for the time being, and time has come to reduce elements and to bring down parts of the European achievements, European ambitions. And we are, when I have to refer to the other camp, confronted with those like me and others who do consider that we don't have Europe enough, which does not mean that we would have America too much. We don't have Europe too much when it comes to fight against terrorism, when it comes to fight against crime, when it comes to coordination of economic policies, when it comes to putting together different elements of structural reforms which have to be organized throughout the European Union. There we don't have common ground. And so it's difficult to enter a transatlantic dialogue if, as Europeans, you don't have common views on common subjects. Although in the US too, there are inner American nuances, divergences, differences, other points of views which are confronting. My experience when discussing these and other matters with Bill Clinton, now with George Bush, my impression is that if the Europeans have strong ambitions, supported by the broad willingness of all those concerned, we have some success.
So tensions in this essential relationship are not new. And the fact that the world has changed, and you stress it very well, after the war in '89, after also especially the 11th of September, and in the aftermath, of course, in the enlargement process that Europe goes through, is in fact normal. We should not forget speaking of the problems, what unites us. And what unites us, I think, is much more than what may divide us. One of the things that maybe Americans and what we feel that Americans do not really understand, or maybe don't want to understand, but what we feel very accurate is the nature of this European Union. So what I want to say to our American friends, and what I always try to say, and what all my colleagues try to get over, is that the idea of the European Union, from the beginning on, was a political one. But I think we should really concentrate on what together we could do better in taking advantage of the different experiences of the one and the other. And the European Union has a lot to offer on the international field. We have an extreme, impressive range of tools in addressing global and regional security challenges. We all want a very, very sincere and open and effective relation with the United States.
And if after a common analysis we disagree on certain issues, I think we should do this in respect of each position and look forward for the things that we can do together. And there is a lot to be done together on the level of the common fight against terrorism, on trade issues, on non-proliferation, on the fight against proliferation, many things that we can do better together. And that's how we should proceed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think we should not speak of a gap. I think we should speak positively of diversity. We have the theme on the agenda in the cultural field, in UNESCO and in all our debates. And what is the challenge of the 21st century? I think the challenge is to accept one another and to have a life in peace, one with the other, how it is, and build a society with the acceptance of its diversity. That should be a fantastic aim for this century.
I guess all issues were important as far as they contribute to a better understanding in this very problematic relation between the United States and Europe. The incoming Europe is definitely not completed. Having experienced this practically, I can tell you that as far as the atmosphere is concerned, the spirit in which we exchange our impressions, our convictions, finally very deeply rooted convictions, were extremely pleasant. And it shows how accurate first the subject was, and it shows also that everything is possible between the United States and Europe.
If you say strong Europe would be a powerful Europe, then that's a distinction I would make. Europe is not, in my mood, also not able and capable to become a political power. But it can be influential also on the economic and political level. I think it's very important that we take also the political consequences of our economic dimension. And there are two consequences we have to take. First is to have a common foreign and security policy. And if you want to have a common foreign and security policy, you have also to have a defense policy. Because the defense is an instrument to have also a credible political foreign policy.
Thank you very much.